Welcome to Garage Sales Unhinged.
where the characters are as quirky as the finds.
I'm Julie.
And I'm Jake.
Join us as we dive into the wild world of garage sales, yard sales, estate sales, and anywhere secondhand sales are happening.
From bizarre bargains to hilarious haggles.
You won't believe the stories we've got lined up.
Let's get unhinged.
Hey, Julie, I consider you to be, or at least at some point in your life, I considered you to be a musical person. Do you feel like
Thanks.
you were a musical person?
I really love music. I am right now in my life. I'm really big into music theory and how music can. Jacob just made a face of like he's exasperated with me.
No, it's fine. Go on. I'm guessing you're having your cab and letting us know how better you are. Go on.
Well, so music therapy and and actual therapy and helping people out. Also, firsthand knowledge of certain type of music helps me work faster. So I had a friend several years ago, lovely person, and she like if I were to describe her to you, like it's like, oh, she's just a beautiful flower of a person. Like she's just a lovely person. It wouldn't harm anybody, just soft spoken. And one day she was telling me, she's like, oh yeah, whenever I really need to like buckle down and focus at work, I listen to Skrillex.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, I'm sorry, what? And so I went back to my desk and like listened to Skrillex, and I was like, that's what that beautiful child is listening to
Yeah,
to get stuff
yeah.
done. But then it also forced me to start listening to Skrillex whenever I was on deadline. So hey, it worked.
It works. It is always funny when like the music somebody listens to doesn't match up to the personality that you think you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for our listeners, my brothers listened to Dr. Demento whenever we were growing up, and they are exactly the type of person you would think that would listen to Dr. Demento.
Did our brother really get into it? Because I thought
I
that was
remember
my
both
thing.
of you listening to it.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
then
no.
whenever I introduced Dr. Demento, the show and several songs to our nephews, I would say that they were appalled, but also intrigued.
They
And
were
then
just
whenever I
like,
said that, their dad and you had listened to it growing up, they were like, okay, so this is guy stuff. And I was like, yeah, it's very much guy stuff.
yeah, pretty much exclusively guy stuff. But at least it's not toxic, I don't feel. Is there's definitely a lot of self depredation, it's nerd rock for sure.
There's a whole genre of music out there called yacht rock.
Mhm.
And we listen to it at my house. But your point of nerd rock, that is very much Dr. Demento.
Yeah, if you can even call it rock. I mean, there's half of it's polka. So,
It Jacob,
no,
where is this conversation going?
well, no, I ask. Well, first, now you got me kind of curious. I understand you've got your wonderful pixie friend over there that is listening to some really, uh, upsetting electronica, but and then that got you onto Skrillex. But what else is your kind of go-to productivity jam?
So on Spotify, I have a playlist of my favorites, and it's a whole eclectic mix. But I would say a lot of it is house music. It's also, I'm gonna say, like folk rock. It's not like really well-known artists, but and it's not super poppy music, but I would say folk rock. Um,
So it's just kind of a smattering of whatever.
Yeah, and then if I'm getting ready to go out with my girlfriends, I definitely listen to all the songs I listened to in college. So early 2000s hip hop and rap and pop music. That's usually what I listen to whenever I'm getting ready to go out for a night with friends.
Boring. Okay. Well, maybe if you got into more like the heavy EDM electronica stuff, you'd get more done. But
I mean, potato, live your life. I'm not trying to be that productive. I'm just here to have fun.
I'm with you. I wondered, got me wondering. I was like, hey, used music, secondhand music. Yeah, sure. You go buy the vinyls. You go buy a compact disc. Um, cassettes are kind of an underground thing still at this point. But well, they're welling. They're new artists are trying to record on cassette. Uh, but it got me wondering more about secondhand instruments.
Okay.
And I know that personally, I had some experience with secondhand instruments growing up.
Yeah.
Mine was at some point in my life, I fashioned myself as a potential guitarist. And I thought, well, I'm going to get a guitar and that'll do it. That will make it work for me.
Just owning it, you would like osmosis
Yes.
know how to play.
Look, the first step to having a guitar, being an excellent guitar player, is knowing how to look while you are holding the guitar. So,
Please tell me you did not like pose in your mirror in your room holding your guitar.
but I did. I mean, come on. That's the whole point. It's like, okay, the strap like this, if I let the guitar kind of slouch that way, it looked like I don't care. And that's what's going to work. Yeah.
I mean, Jake, I love that you just give me so much ammunition to give you crap for the rest of our lives.
The bad thing was the particular model that I had gotten from a pawn shop was a PVT 60. Is an extremely heavy guitar. Not heavy sound, just physically uncomfortable to have strapped to your torso. It must have weighed all of like 30 pounds.
Is that when you decided to start hitting the gym?
It's when I decided I had a back injury. It was terrible. I couldn't really like pull off the cool, like, I don't care. You have to care holding this thing, because if you that's how you get hurt, Julie. That's how you get hurt.
How old were you?
This was high school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like how you were in high school, like a sophomore in high school, like, I got back problems.
That's you got to watch out. You got to stretch. Look, the secret to making friends is you got to stretch.
Honestly, real good advice.
Yeah. Bought a PVT 60. It's a right-handed guitar. I'm left-handed, and decided just like I'm going to play it upside down. And you go when you're in early years and early forays into some kind of pursuit, you end up looking into it, beyond just the how-tos of it. How do I play this kind of chord, and what's that tab mean, and all that other stuff.
Also, the internet was not around at this point.
Yeah, it was way early on. But at some
So
point
you were pulling out our Encyclopedia Britannica and going to the
Pretty
guitar
much,
section.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, hey, look, Jimi Hendrix played his guitar upside down. That means I can be as good as Jimi Hendrix. And the logic was flawless. It really was.
So, okay, fun little factoid about Jimi Hendrix. Early on in his career, he needed to tune his guitar before a set, and he looked over, and the only person he trusted to tune his guitar was Eric Clapton.
Huh.
And Eric Clapton looked at him and said, "Tune your own guitar."
Huh.
I don't know. There you go, factoid.
Interesting.
Yeah, I do no research for this podcast, but I have a bunch of useless stories.
Yeah, yeah. If only you were on a game show, you could actually make this count for something.
Oh man. There's times where I think I would kill in Jeopardy, and then they ask something that I would have to like have learned in college, and I'm like, oh God, no, I'm not doing this.
There's times that I think I would kill in Jeopardy, but then I think I could not do hard time. But
Ding.
so yeah, it was a PVT 60. At some point, I picked up a drum machine from a flea market. It was a big box with all sorts of knobs and dials on it. And at the same time, I'd also picked up a guitar effects pedal. And at that point, I was frustrated enough with guitar. I only knew how to play maybe 2 or 3 songs and portions of a handful of other songs, like the easy parts. Yeah, I got that. I mean, there was times I'd sit down and I'd just try to play. I'd rather play the bass line on a given song because that was a lot easier, So I have this guitar, but I'm pretty sure I could just do the bass part on a guitar. That's got to be useful for somebody. And at that point, I was frustrated enough with with learning the damn thing that I just messed around enough to know how to plug in, like connect the guitar effects pedal to the drum machine and make it do a lot of weird stuff. And surely after all of that, all of that stuff went into a closet or something and never came back out. And that was the end of my musical career.
Congrats. And also congrats to the world.
Yeah, right.
Are you planning a garage sale, yard sale, or estate sale and need some help? Look no further than Garage Sales Supply. They provide top-notch resources and expert advice to help you host the perfect sale. From pricing tips to promotional strategies, they've got you covered. Visit garagesalessupply.com and make your next sale a success.
But your musical story is a little different. You were very much a piano girl.
And your point?
Where did that even come from? Because for as long as I can remember, we always had the piano.
So, okay. The piano actually came from our mother's parents. So it came from Mama and Papa.
I really appreciate how you said their names. You make us sound much more continental. Mama and Papa, yes.
Mama and Papa. It was actually Mama and Paw.
Right. Don't forget the W's there. There you go.
And I don't know where they got the piano from. I was just trying to pull it up. So I have an older Yamaha upright piano. And our parents had it, and then whenever I moved out and actually got my first house, and actually I bought my first house because I wanted my piano. So like some people buy a house for their pets. I bought a house for my musical instrument. And I always wanted to be able to play the guitar because I thought, how cool would it be to like travel and take your instrument with you? Because you cannot travel with the piano. You're like, whatever you're playing has to already be there.
Yeah.
And it's also for a lot of musical artists that they do play the piano, like a John Legend example. In their writer agreement, they have in there very specific what type of piano brand they're willing to play at events. A lot of times it's because they have a contractual agreement, they may have a sponsorship. But yeah, if that piano is not currently in the venue, then the venue has to bring it in as part of the contractual agreement. Anyway, that's a lot of the fine print of pianos for large musical artists. So, I have a feeling that the Yamaha piano that I got that was handed down, I'm pretty sure that was bought secondhand. I don't think our grandparents had the means or the desire, because I don't know of anyone else in the family that plays the piano.
I don't, man, from what I recall of our grandparents, no, neither of them were piano playing folk.
No. But yeah, I have 8 years of classical piano training. However, I really wanted to be a jazz pianist. And whenever you do 8 years of classical training, it's really hard to switch to jazz, which is supposed to be like, you feel the music, it's whatever's in you. And I'm like, I need structure to play.
What I love about jazz is like, it's about the notes you're not playing. You're like, sweet, I'm just going to walk away from the piano and be the best jazz musician there ever was.
Yeah.
I can play none of the notes right now.
But now,
so like what was the draw for you about jazz piano? Like you said, you get to feel the music. That means like, oh, cool. There's no rules. Like you just get to be loose with it.
yeah, I think it was the freedom of getting away from structure and being able to play the notes I wanted to play and not the notes that Beethoven wrote or Mozart wrote or, name.
Yeah, those hacks.
Well, it's also one of those things. I mean, if you ever see any kind of piano competition, there's a really famous one in Fort Worth.
Oh, it's the Van whatever.
The Van Cliburn competition. And they are playing historical music pieces, like classical pieces.
Right.
And you would think of like, well, how do you make that different? Because it's been played for hundreds of years, right? But
Right. Like Ben Folds. Yeah.
right. um, but the thing is like you can actually play classical pieces and put your own spin on them.
Mhm.
And I wanted to go and create my own music. I not that I wanted to be a composer, like I don't want to document stuff ever, clearly by this podcast. Um, but it was I wanted to go and create music that not necessarily anyone else could play again. It was just more for the enjoyment of what I was doing.
Yeah. It felt like you actually like created something as opposed to just performing somebody else's creation.
Yeah. And I mean, today, um, so I've had my piano forever now, but for the several years, I was not getting it tuned. I couldn't afford to get it tuned. And so now I have a tuner that comes in once every 6 months and tunes my piano. And lovely gentleman, he comes in. He's a local music professor. He works at one of the universities, and he comes in and goes straight to the piano. I offer him, water. He's like, no, I'm good. And he takes about 20-30 minutes to get it tuned. And by the end of the session, I'm in my office working, my husband's in his office working, and like all of a sudden I hear this like beautiful music coming out of the piano, and I was like, it's done. And but then I haven't spent the time that I need to go and like rebuild my muscles in my hand to actually play the way I used to play and practice your scales and do all that stuff. Like it's one of those things. And for anyone that's, who's played a musical instrument or maybe an athlete or something like that, if you stop for a while, the muscle memory is still there, but the muscle buildup has gone. So like you have to build all that stuff back. And it's
Yeah.
really frustrating to be like, I know how to read sheet music. Why isn't my brain telling my fingers what to do?
Right. I remember there was a song that you would play like routinely, like every time you would it would seem to me at random just sit down at the piano when we were growing up and bang out a few things and be like, okay, and walk away from it. Uh, was it Green Sleeves?
No.
I don't
I don't even
know.
know. I
There
mean,
is
there was always the entertainer, which I loved playing because it would annoy the crap everyone in the
that
house.
was it. Yeah. You were able to sit down. You wouldn't even have to crack your knuckles. You didn't have to pull out any sheet music. You just sit down and just bang that thing out and walk away like it was nothing.
I can
And you
still
got
do that. I can still do that one song today.
yeah. You got so good at it that you would just play it way too fast.
Yeah.
You would play it really fast, and that would get me upset. It's like, no, play it right. Don't.
Well, there was one point that the piano was in our parents' bedroom, and I was practicing it at night, and everyone was trying to go to sleep. And so mom and dad turned off the light in the room, thinking like, okay, go to bed, Julie. You can't even see the keys. I can play in the dark. Like I knew where the keys were. And they were like, seriously, Julie, if you don't go to bed right now. And I was like, fine. But it was also like, I'm going to play The Entertainer one more time before you go to bed. Kids, the song The Entertainer is not something you want to listen to before trying to go to sleep. And I'm sure our parents are like, we're about to put in a 9 and 10 hour day at work tomorrow. And our daughter's trying to play this song and it is driving us nuts.
I know. And they're like, surely we can adopt her out to an Asian family. Like,
Well, and here's the thing is I don't think I actually wanted to play the piano. I think it was our mom that felt like I needed to learn a musical instrument. And since we had the piano, and so she started putting me into piano lessons. And
I
yeah,
love that. Your mother's like, look, I think you're wonderful. But the friend thing's probably not going to work out. Why don't we sign you up for some piano lessons there, buddy? You know, you can be one of those piano girls. You can enjoy pictures of horses.
yeah, I don't like what were they going to do? Like, hey, Julie, learn a musical instrument so you stay off the streets. We lived out in the country. I didn't want to be on the dirt road as it was.
That is curious. They signed you up for that. They're like, hey, you've got a shot at being cultured. These two over here are staying up playing Contra. It and you won't go to bed because you're like, no, mama, papa, I must master the piano. And we're literally eating sour candy and punching each other in the face.
Well, because I think our parents saw the writing on the wall with you
Yeah.
guys. They're like,
Yeah.
put all our eggs in this other basket. She'll let us all ride her coattails.
Yeah. So Julie, where's that sweet entertainer money?
Yeah, it's in a hidden account. But
Yeah.
also, you and our older brother would no, granted, I did join you guys a couple times, but you guys would go outside and burn our toys.
You say it that way. It doesn't sound great. Doesn't sound that's not doing us any favors, Julie.
I mean, you haven't really
Go outside
lived.
and burn our toys. Gosh.
You haven't really lived until you melted the face off of a He-Man action figure.
And not know better than to breathe in.
The toxic fumes from
Right.
China.
No, we would. We'd go out there and we'd burn them. We'd set them up, stand up the, different GI Joes and Star Wars action figures on sawhorses and shoot at them over and over again with BB guns.
Okay. Also, I want to reiterate, we lived in the country. We didn't do this in city limits. So,
Right.
yeah.
And now, like it wasn't long after that we really kicked ourselves because we realized, oh no, I could have turned around and sold that rare Star Wars toy, even out of the box, to some grown man for a lot of money. And our brother stuck its hand in a pencil sharpener so it could have cool, stabby points for hands. I was really upset about that.
I'm so sorry that we had a kick-ass childhood, but you
Yeah.
didn't make your fortune off of toys.
Julie, you're supposed to monetize your childhood. Everything's about making money.
Which is why my parents put me in piano lessons, and look what happened.
Yeah. Well, okay. So nothing but compliments to your, piano work. Do you remember me playing guitar?
Yes, I also vividly remember pawning your guitar.
Yeah, okay. Well, how'd I do?
Not great.
Oh, okay.
I remember you playing guitar. I remember you playing the cello.
Oh, right. That too. No,
Yeah.
no.
Oh, viola. It was the viola.
Right. Yeah, I did the viola thing in middle school and figured that's not good for my social, cachet. And just, I don't know. I did okay, I guess, maybe, but we never really got into it. Seemed weird keeping up with the resin and all the other stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there was one point in middle school I played the trumpet and I was not
What?
good. Yeah, I
don't
wasn't
remember
good at it.
that.
So, I don't know if you remember, but in 5th grade, I went to a magnet middle school and it was
Mhm.
for arts and sciences.
I remember
Um,
being very confused why Julie gets to go to magnet school.
well, because I applied. So here's the thing.
My
You and I-
understanding was different. Like magnet school, are there refrigerators that they're working with in there? What?
Well, so here's the thing, like, because I went to a magnet middle school and I also
I
went
burned and breathed in plastic.
I also went to like a magnet high school. So the high school is for people that were going to go into the medical field. So I spent half my day at the public high school and half my day at the magnet high school. Um, the middle school option it was a new thing that came out the year that I got into the 5th grade. It wasn't available your year, and you're just a year older than me. You were in the grade above me. And of course, it wasn't available in our older brother's 5th grade year. But our local ISD took one of the old schools, turned it into a magnet school. People had to apply to get their kids to go there because it wasn't automatic. And I was like, yeah, that sounds like fun. I want to apply to go to that. So I applied. Mom and dad didn't do the application.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
I applied and I got accepted. And then I was like, hey, mom and dad, I got accepted to this school. And they're like, I'm sorry, what?
Shut up. Go outside and burn plastic.
So in the magnet school, we had it was a very cool music program. I was also in the drama group, and I remember we were
I
doing this
believe
Christmas.
that. I wholeheartedly believe that you were in the dramatic part of it.
Yes. Well, so here's where I had a short-lived career in theater because in the fourth grade I was 5'4". I was taller than everyone. I was taller than some of the teachers, and so whenever I got into drama, the only roles that they would give me was like grandmother, mom, boss lady. Like, no, I
Yeah,
wanted to be an elf. I wanted to be like one of the short people, but
yeah.
they were never going to put me in one of those roles because I already looked like an adult. And so yeah, like I remember we were in this Christmas play and I was
Well, they're
sitting.
like, I'd like to be one of the fairies in Midsummer Night's Dream. Oh yeah, okay. Well, right now we're just gonna have you read for Orpheus, and just get used to that. Okay.
Well, I just remember in this play, I'm sitting in this rocking chair being grandmother, and I had one line, and I was like,
Right.
this sucks.
Yeah.
But
How
yeah,
I
I
Became
played
B. Arthur. That's the name of your memoir.
that. Honestly, that's what I felt like. Like,
Yeah.
I'm just B. Arthur up here. But anyway, B. Arthur's a great actor or was a great actor. So I'm not going to knock that. But I didn't want to be B. Arthur when I was in the fifth grade.
For sure.
Um, but I played the trumpet in fifth grade, and I'm not good at how you have to like position your mouth on the mouthpiece and all that stuff. And so I could check out a trumpet from the school, but mom and dad never went and bought one for me. So I couldn't really practice it, or I could only play at school. And so, and anyway, I think mom and dad were like, no, you're pretty good at the piano. We'll just keep you in that. I was like, but I could carry the trumpet with me. I could do stuff. But yeah,
It seems like a dodged bullet because, as I understand it, with the brass instruments, there's like a spit valve and all that other stuff.
yeah.
And honestly, the idea of renting one out doesn't sound very hygienic. You
There's a
probably dodged a bullet there.
there's a lot of secretions in the brass family.
God.
I was at a friend's house yesterday, and one of my friends, she was sneezing and whatever, and I was like, "Oh, the secretions from your body," and she's like, "Why do you keep saying that?" I was like, "Because it's gross and disgusting."
Well, no, it was just a thought that came to mind when it came to secondhand instruments. I was just mystified as to where the piano came from, and now honestly, that presents a bigger mystery because our grandparents, I never saw them mess around with any kind of musical instrument, let alone a piano.
Yeah.
So that's the next thing for us to, the next case to crack, Julie. We got to figure out where Mama and Papa's piano come from, and
Well, and also, I remember our mother. So I'll have to ask mom about it. But I remember our mom. She said that she used to play that piano whenever she was a kid. Like I think probably just
wow,
tinkering around on it. And I'm going, how old is this piano? I'm sure there's a marking somewhere on it.
yeah,
But then to your point of like, so did they win it in a poker game? Like,
that I
how?
believe. That's more likely, honestly. You still have that piano?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. You got to figure out what's up with it.
Well, and the piano is actually in my will. So whenever I'm gone, the piano actually goes to our niece. So I'll
Okay.
sing in the family.
Cool. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, I did not grant my 85-pound guitar to anyone, but it was
You can't. You
it was
can't. I
tough.
got rid of it.
It was tough because at one point on my musical journey, I'm going, oh, Jimi Hendrix played this way too. Haha. And then I look more into it and go, oh, this particular type of guitar was made popular by Conway Twitty. And it's like, oh man, those things cancel each other out.
Well, so I remember, so in the house that we grew up in, your old bedroom was kind of like this catch-all of crap. And our dad, our
No
dad is,
offense. It's okay.
you weren't living there at the time. Our
Oh,
dad, yeah, you were
okay.
there.
I thought that's, I was just gonna say you like lumping me in there, man. Okay.
Yeah,
Hey,
I got a brother back there. He's crap. No.
Yeah. Your bedroom was a real, was a real shithole. And then you would leave and it got better.
No. So after you had moved out, uh this room had just become this catch-all of everything. And our dad is a little bit of a pack rat. And I think it's hereditary because I think that happens in his side of the family. And I think that's also a side effect of whenever you're raised by people that went through the Great Depression.
Right.
You
Totally.
tend to keep everything because you might need that in the future.
Scarcity gets written into the genes. Yeah.
Yes. And so I was home for what I don't remember why I was home. It might have been whenever I moved back home for a brief period of time after college. And I remember our mom was like, I'm so tired of this room. Like, we can't use it. It's not a guest room. There's just stuff everywhere. And I was like, well, why don't we clean it out? She's like, oh, your dad would hate that. Like, and he had actually gone on a hunting trip. And I was like, well, he's not here. And I said, tell you what, Mom, let's go through and organize it. Whatever we can get rid of, I'll take to Goodwill, we'll pawn it, whatever. And I said, and if he can actually say specifically what I got rid of, I will go to Goodwill. I go to the pawn shop and I'll buy it back. And she was like, you know what? This is on your hands, but okay, we'll do it. And so, and I remember I called you. I'm like, hey, can I get rid of your guitar? And you're like, what guitar? And I was like,
Right. Right.
I took it to the pawn shop. And
Oh,
I
you mean
think
the one that won me scores of friends?
I think they gave me $60 for it.
Yeah.
So I was like, cool. And of course, mom and dad gave them the money. And so I guess I had gone, I don't think I was living there because I had left. And dad gets back from his hunting trip and mom is like, I'm not going to tell him about it. I'm just going to wait until he goes in there one day.
Okay.
And I was like, okay. And I think it was about 2 weeks later, dad goes back there to do something. And he was like, what happened? And it's surprisingly enough, he was not mad about it. He was like, oh, this actually looks really nice.
Wow.
But then I got the phone call of, Julie, what happened to all this stuff? This was our stuff. And I think he thought I just came in there without mom's knowledge and did all this.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, some of it I gave away. Some of it I took to thrift store. Some of it I took to a pawn shop. And he was like, well, what happened to Jacob's guitar? I was like, I pawned it. Julie, you can't do that. That is Jacob. I was like, I called Jacob. He didn't care. And he was like, oh.
Well, how sweet of him to think like first, like, oh no, that would be so important to him. That's very touching. To be fair, dad did something like that to the both of you. Probably before that. Like you and mom went on a cruise or something. And the last thing, literally the last thing mom told dad, because it was just going to be me and dad at home while you guys were on this cruise. The last thing mom said was, don't knock a hole in the wall. Ha, ha, ha. You guys drive out. You're like just leaving the driveway. Dad turns to me and goes, come on, we're knocking a hole in this wall.
And here's the
and
thing.
we did.
And I don't know if he had that thought in his head before mom put it there.
Maybe. But yeah, that's when he took the opportunity, to have a few days without supervision to cut a hole from the kitchen to the living room so that he could just reach from his recliner and ask for a bowl of ice cream, which pro move on his part.
I remember mom was so mad. She's still mad about that. But it's also like a clear indicator of why our parents don't spend longer than like a couple of nights away from each other.
Yeah.
Lesson learned.
Yeah. Well, yeah. No, I've been looking at some, Conway Twitty YouTube videos. And so I'm working on the white guy afro. I've got some big sequined butterfly collar suits. So I might get back into it. Wish me luck.
I'm glad that we live in different houses. So
yeah,
best of luck practicing.
That's what I got this week, Julie.
I love it. Thanks for bringing it, Jake.
All right. See you next time.
Bye.